Aries, hi, namaste. This read is for those of you that have Aries in your chart somewhere, Sun, Moon, Ascending, or Jupiter. My Aries, anywhere in your chart, my Jupiter is in Aries, so this will apply to me in my work world, I guess. And we just had a moon in Sagittarius, a full moon in Sagittarius, which would have been about adventure, which would have revealed sort of hidden desires or sort of needs for adventure or expansion or new change, or to sort of explore the sort of parameters of one's life, and to sort of stretch out the parameter in one's life and sort of break through any old parameters. And it can be about information, it can be new knowledge, it can be about a way of living, it can be Sagittarius just represents sort of breaking free. It's like fire, breaking new ground, exploring, travel. And then we have the strategic sun. We have the sun in strategic Gemini, which is all about thinking, planning, materializing. I mean, it's that male energy, the air energy, the thinking energy. And so that is what's going on astrologically, and just the two main, sun and moon. And so let's have a look and see how that's affecting Aries right now for June 2018. And Aries are a fire sign, so I am sure it is affecting them, all Aries, with quite a lot of power. Interesting. All right. Look at that. I'm going to pull it. And there is the Ace of Pentacles. Okay. Now, let's see, what have we got? Okay. It looks like, I'm going to just double check because I just did a whole read and you couldn't see the bottom cards, so I don't want to do that again. All right. Now, it looks to me like this is a really powerful experience for Aries, because, you know, the Sagittarius moon is going to be a fire sign. It's going to really affect fire people. It's a very rebellious energy, and it looks like the Tower card coming in is sort of really causing sort of a powerful change. We've got a lot of major arcanas here. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major arcanas here for Aries. So to me, this is going to be a pretty powerful change in the life of an Aries. And as far as shifting to a life that, you know, the ability to take a risk, or the confidence to take a risk, or the impetus, or the sort of clarity and knowledge and the need to go ahead and take a big risk and to jump in. And it can also involve relationships, but I also think that it involves finances, and it involves the whole life in a way. I mean, you know, it's I mean, the Tower card is going to have is saying that this is an impact. This is a big impact, and now the Sagittarius full moon really does represent breaking free. We did just have Uranus enter Taurus, which is about breaking free. Uranus is always about breaking free, and Taurus is about finances. So there's going to be, in many people's lives, a shift, a new way of making money. And now, then the next week, following week, we have a full moon in Sagittarius, which is about creating adventure in your life and discovering a way to have more adventure, and the desire to make it happen in the strategic, with the strategic Gemini energy. So this is what's showing up in the read here. So what we have for Aries is a knowledge, or the sort of period where action is, it's sort of like it's almost like we're skipping the action and just jumping straight into materializing a new way of living that is centered in the heart. And this might have been something that the Aries had turned away from for a while, and in order to sort of become stronger recognition of the heart, and in order to sort of bring it into a materialization with a certain amount of, now this is the Fool in the divine section of the read, telling me that there's something that's being really, there's something major being released in the life of the Aries that's around creativity or passion and adventure, because that's the Sagittarius right there with the wands, the Page of Wands. So it's they're letting go and turning in towards a life that has more of a sense of freedom and spontaneity and release, and it's like a risk, but it looks like the Aries are feeling very supported universally by the energies in order to go ahead and take the risk. And it really is turning away from options that are not so fulfilling, that may have sort of superficial, attractive qualities about them, but that do not fulfill the heart. And so this is what's crashing down for the Aries in this adventurous new moon, is sort of the knowledge of what's truly in the heart, jumping in for that and this sort of letting go of a period of introspection that was needed for the Aries to discover what to turn to, who to turn to, what relationship to turn to. Just checking my timer here. And in order to sort of materialize this new beginning and begin it, and there it is, coming forward emotionally. It's interesting because, this is an emotional, there's the Knight of Cups is an emotional, and then we get the King of Cups. So we've got we've got emotional stability happening, and we're turning away. The Aries are turning away from emotionally less fulfilling, and that's what's coming down. That's what's towering. Other options. It's almost like the Aries have had to sort of focus in on it, and there needed to be this sort of a period of lone time to know what to let go of, what to hold on to from a heart perspective. It's almost like there was a period of time where the heart needed to sort of bubble up, and in order for the Aries to take a really shall we say fearless approach or fearless move, this is involving the whole life of the Aries. Now, the World card represents really pretty much a totalitarian of your experience and your life and the whole picture. So this is something that's going to expand the life of an Aries, really to sort of to something that is really, really, truly the most desired and the most highest destined journey for the life of the Aries. And it's to go towards the highest vibrational love experience. So, I mean, this is a sort of relationship read, but it can also be, it's a relationship read, but it really impacts the whole life of the Aries, because it's going to involve a new financial beginning. And what this looks like to me is that the Aries are in general turning towards a more of a risk. I think the Sagittarian full moon enabled the Aries to sort of develop the confidence to take more risks and to turn away from unfulfilling situations or experiences, and sort of allow whatever falls away to fall away, in order, because there's sort of a focus and a new sense of importance to the Aries as to what matters, and that there'll be a way, because then we get the Page of Pentacles. It's almost like the Aries are now centered, heart and creativity centered, because the wands represent creativity. So this is areas in the Aries life that are creative and heart centered, rather than shall we say fancy, or shall we say glittery, or shall we say, so it's almost like there's an adjustment happening where the walls are crumbling on what doesn't matter or what has no value and what is superficial or meaningless, in order to sort of create a new financial beginning that supports what the Aries loves, rather than turning away, because we have these cards letting go of turning away from the heart space to superficial options. That period is what, So if you look at this read, we're circulating the outside of the read by the cards turning away, and then we have the cards in the center turning in. So it looks to me during this period of what's crashing down and what's changing and shifting for the Aries is a life that's more centered in what is divinely and emotionally and creatively and heart-based centered life, turning away from or it was discovered in isolation, but also the Aries is willing to now let go of the period of isolation in order to experience the knowledge, the new knowledge of what is in their heart, their creative passion, the life that inspires and excites them, turning away from sort of more superficial experiences and then seeking from an emotionally fulfilled place a new financial way, or a financial way to support a life that is inspired, passionate, love, creative, and letting go of that which is unfulfilling. And what's exciting about this is that there's almost sort of there's a confidence and an emotional security about doing this risk. And it feels like it took a while for the Aries to get to this position to leap and to take the risk. But it happened because it's happening, I think, obviously because of the astrology and the full moon, as I love astrology and I love how it impacts us, and it has such a sort of global effect on all of us at the same time, but in different areas in our lives. But this, to me, for the Aries, this period of this full moon and this new section of June coming in with the sun in Gemini is going to be about activating a life, sort of like a completely different way of living, where the choices are going to be about supporting a life that they love and a life that's fulfilling, that feels free and exciting, that is involving a true divinely supported love, that involves creativity. Oopsies, I gotta pull this card. That the Aries will. It's like there's a reversal. Instead of finding money, a life that's financially built and fancy, or shall we say, because even the Seven of Cups is really kind of rich and glamorous. So in other words, sort of a life that's more grounded in fun and love and creativity and adventure. And then the Aries are now going to progress forward to financially begin a new beginning that supports that life, that supports a fulfilling experience in living. And Master is the card I pull from the Wisdom of the Tao Oracle cards by Mei Jin Liu. And this card says, you can solve any problem naturally and effortlessly. Proceed with courage and intelligence. Let soft conquer hard. Let soft conquer hard. Do not fight the powers that can destroy you. Ride with these opposing forces until the right moment. Ride with these opposing forces until the right moment to act. Yeah, that is kind of what the read feels like, that the Aries are needing to take. They're preparing really to leap and jump in a new fulfilling experience, but right now the process is sort of crumbling down. The old the old impressive things are no longer as impressive. Letting go of being alone, sort of the period of isolation to discover what is truly in the heart is now sort of being released. The Aries are turning into a new life that is more adventurously exciting, fun, free, risk-taking, and then trusting that the finances will happen in support of, that this will then pull in a new financial beginning that will really fulfill and take the Aries to the sort of ultimate world life experience that they're here to materialize and experience. Thank you so much for listening to my read. I hope that was clear. and helpful. Thank you.